Hello everyone, this is Rex Red. I am back again today with another exciting EZ3DTV tutorial. And today we are going to be making our own spherical infinity cove. And I had to struggle to figure out how to do this, but I figured it out, and I'm going to impart that wisdom to you all. And so, without too much ado, I will start this tutorial off. And Sigmund wants to say hi, so say hi, Sigmund. Hi! Oh, that was nice, Sigmund. I am here. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. So, all right, I am going to switch over. We're going to slowly fade out this music. Well, that was kind of quick. It was just like off. All right, and we're going to switch over to this monitor or camera, I guess. And that is a car going by, just in case you needed that sound effect. That was another one. So yes, I live in a city. So we are going to now switch over and open Daz Studio. And here we are, here we are. And you're going to see that this was a convoluted kind of process that I had to go through. Okay, this isn't what we want. Right here, we're going to, oh, I don't need this. I've been busy, been out straight all day. So I think segments and sides, we're going to go here with 130 and 130. 130, we'll make it even. 3 in diameter, we can just make it larger if we need to. Okay, so that's probably a good size right now. Now, if we go, I'm going to go straight on from the front, and we'll move our camera up a little bit so it is centered. Now that is a beautiful sphere, and it has a lot of geometry in it, so you can shape this, okay? Because sometimes, as you're going to see, a sphere may not be exactly like you're thinking, all I need is a perfect half-shell sphere and everything will be fine. And that's not always the case, because sometimes you have to shape that sphere into something to make things, so trees don't look like they're going like this, and just one kind of idea, okay? So you'll see that there are some things that we can end up having to do. I got to go back here and turn on live chat so I can catch all of the chat messages. So it says we have an excellent connection here, so here we go. Now, the first thing, I'm going to show you this first because it was what I tried to do first. I figured, okay, I'm just going to lift the sphere off the ground a little bit, and I'm just going to drop it down and have it contact the floor. We'll just put a little plane in here like this. Make a plane, accept, and I figured we'll just make this sphere kind of hit the floor, and we'll have like the curved bottom. We want the flat bottom, but we want the round top, so it's kind of like a half shell kind of thing. So what we would do with that was we would be going here with object. I'm just kind of showing you what didn't work. So object, geometry, and dynamic surface. And then all we would have to do is go here and simulate, and look what happens. This was not at all what I expected was going to happen, but it was a mess. As you can see, it just was like a balloon that just went blue and popped. You know, it was just horrible. Okay, so no, that didn't work. Now, I'm not saying that there's not some way to give, you know, to go into the dForce stuff. This was like a sheet in the wind, okay? Now, there may be some way to give the sphere some kind of rigidity, friction, I don't know. All of you set all the settings, make it more like canvas or something, or you know, or something in between. But I didn't really want to mess with it, okay? So, goodbye, sphere. So we're going to bring a sphere back, another sphere back in, and I will show you what worked. Okay, we're gonna lift this up off the ground here. We don't need a plane because we are not going to simulate. And now we're gonna look at this from the bottom. We'll turn this off, and let's see if we can straighten this out a little bit. Okay, like that, like this. Okay. I guess that's close enough. So now what we're going to do is go into Tools Settings. Welcome, 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 welcome. And what we're going to do is go to our Mesh Grabber. And then we're going to take this fall off radius and we're going to make it nice and large. And we're going to click on this sphere like that. And so you see, I didn't really worry about where exactly I clicked on the sphere. I just kind of clicked at the bottom. And then I grabbed this Mesh Grabber and I just, whoops, Z. That's too big. We want to make this a little bit smaller, like this maybe. And I just pulled, and that's still a little bit too much. Fall off radius. Just pull this up like that. See how that worked? And we have our half shell here. It was very easy, okay? That didn't take but a moment. Okay, so then we go out of Mesh Grabber. We're going to save this, okay, as our half shell, a sphere half shell. Okay, but then there comes the question of how do we, and let's Z. Okay, cancel, control. Let's go back to Mesh Grabber for a moment. Where's Mesh Grabber? And we lost our selection. And what if we, okay, that didn't work. I have the Air Force going by again. And what if I were to just pull that up? No, see, that's not really, okay, flatten that out a little more on the bottom. Now that just made it kind of concave. So you have to work with this. I've shown you how it's done, and this is the second time I've done this, so it's not like a stroke of luck. Angus, you are not very late. You are the first to arrive today. So that is how we're going to bring the bottom up so we can make this. But what we have to do now is we have to cut this in half, like chop it down the middle. Now, I tried to use Geometry Editor, File, Save As, Scene. We're going to call this Infinity Spherical in 2. Spherical Infinity Cove 2. Okay, so I figured I could just use Geometry Editor. So we'll switch to Geometry Editor and I could just come right in here. Let's take a look at this in when we go into wireframe. Now, as you can see, this is pretty complex stuff. And so I figured, well, I'm in Geometry Editor. I'm just going to take, no, not that. We'll just take the selection mode. We'll use the marquee and we'll just kind of cut this half off and go right click, geometry editing, delete the selected polygons. That's what couldn't hurt, right? Nothing. Look what we get. This, and this really, is a reflection on Daz Studio in a way, because it shouldn't do this. It shouldn't just come, the sphere shouldn't be so completely volatile like this, okay? And just if I were to say, let's undo polygon selection, nothing will undo that, okay? So there's another sweet, lovely reflection that Geometry Editor, there's no undo for Geometry Editor. So so we have to reload it. So no, we can't just cut it in half and be done with it, because it just completely craps out. So we go File, Open Recent, Spherical Cover, no, don't save this, and there we are again with our sphere, okay? So what do we do? Well, we take the sphere into Send to Hexagon, okay? And this is not the most pleasant program to work with. I probably should have picked Blender to do this. But the thing is that I picked, I didn't. I picked Hexagon, all right? So what we do is we make sure the sphere is selected, okay? Then select this face group here, okay? And you're going to see just exactly how tedious a job this is. Okay, so let's try clicking again. Okay, now we have one selected. Now we're going to select loop and hit delete. Okay, then we're going to select another one and hit loop. Oops, it didn't select. There we go. Loop, delete. And just keep doing this all the way around. Now, when that happens, you have to hit escape, and then you have to edit, undo. Yeah, isn't that nice? That just decides to happen every once in a while. Loop, delete, and what's even more kind of terrible is that it doesn't loop all the way around, okay? It only loops one way. Loop, delete, loop, delete. So we have to go all the way around here. Loop, delete. And you might say, well, why can't you grow the selection? Or, yeah, I'm not really that familiar with how to do that, but there is a way to grow your selection. Okay, I didn't want to do that either. Let's try this. Loop, delete. So this is just the best way I know how to do this is right now is to loop, because when you're talking about up in here, it gets so fine that you can't really even see the geometry. So it's very hard to select edges or know how much you grew. Okay, and so this is the only way I really know how to do this, is to just kind of tediously loop your way. And believe me, you might say, oh, this is time consuming. Well, try it another way and you might find yourself here 2 hours trying to figure out how to do this, trying to figure it out. And with this method, I might be done in about 10 minutes. And you know what? That is not too bad a time thing, okay? It's not the worst thing in the world. And once you have this done, you have your infinity cove, okay, to use like forever. Okay, so this is pretty good, okay, how you do this. We are in Hexagon, we're looping, we're making an infinity cove. If you want to see how I made this, we did not use dForce because dForce wouldn't work. We used mesh grabber to push the bottom up. And we now have this we're working on getting ourselves, okay, escape, edit. See, every once in a while you grab it and it does the wrong thing, and you just have to hit escape and then undo it, edit, undo, and then come back in here, loop, delete. Okay, can I move this? No, that's not what I wanted to do. Alternate. Okay, there we go. All right, we're going to select that. Loop. There might be hotkeys to do this, to loop this. It's just L. So I guess L and delete. Click. Oh, see, this happens. And then we have to go edit, undo. All right, now we go here. L, delete. Here, 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 L, delete. And there's just another 50 left. L, delete. L, delete. Okay, and now we're going to right click. What do we hold? The alternate key and left click to turn it. All right, I'm going to turn on my little mouse thing. Okay, and now you can see where I'm kind of at. L to loop it, to delete that loop. L. Come on. All right, well, I guess I didn't click it. L, delete. L, delete. So we're learning another little thing in here in Blender. I mean in Hexagon. Delete. Now remember to get you have to click the faces, okay, to do this. We're not clicking edges, we're not clicking points. We're clicking faces, okay? Now I know that there's probably a way to just, select it all, select half or something and delete it, and be done in 2 seconds. I don't know how to do that. And so, but this way is going to work. L. And like I said, it may take 10 minutes, but if you try to find another way, it could take you hours. Believe me, like trying to delete each little square one by one because you ended up kind of messing it up and ending up with pieces of stuff left over, and then it's harder to clean up. Okay, now I have messed up. So we got to go edit, undo. All right, now I'm going to select a different piece. L, delete. L, delete. L. Come on. L, see, sometimes it just doesn't do what you want it to do. L, delete. L, delete. L, delete. But we, very shortly, are going to have an infinity cove. A half shell, like spherical half shell, that's what I'm calling it. A spherical half shell infinity cove. Now you could leave art. The $2 Daz dollars. Thank you. Yes, well, you're going to have to watch it from the beginning to see how I used Mesh Grabber to push the bottom up. Okay, so, but it's, and this is like a 15-minute, it's not a convoluted, like long, lots of processes kind of thing. Okay. But it's, it is something but it's a little tiny bit tedious deleting all of these things. I just don't know Hexagon well enough to be able to just precisely delete half of this. Okay, so we're doing it the slow way, and if you think this is tedious, yeah, well, see, the thing is, I'm not really that interested in the more than half one, and the reason why is because I want my HDRI to be able to shine into it, and I don't want this creating a shadow, okay? And if I have it kind of straight across, then my HDRI can shine like directly into it. So yeah, that's why I'm really not too interested in the. I thought about that. I thought about having it a little bit wider, but it will just block my HDRI from being to be able to shine in, and it will create like a shadow in the scene that won't look realistic. So. But the thing is I'm showing you how to make this, and you see this part, it's a little bit tedious, but it's not complex where you have to do this process and that process. You just have to hit L and hit delete until you get all the way around the thing. And so, okay, now, and when that happens, you hit escape, say edit, undo. Now I'm going to left click and twist a little more here. I think I've got about 2 or 3 left. L, delete. And I think one more maybe. I'm not positive, but I don't. Well, maybe we got to look. Because that might be it. No, I think because it looks off, like where one is gone and one is, we might actually have it here. So I could always bring it back in and get rid of one more, but I don't know. I think we've got it. No, I think there's one more. Because if you see, I line that side up and there's one more left. Okay, so we're going to do one more here. Okay, it's just got to do that one more time here. Escape, edit, undo. Okay, we're going to spin it around. We're going to get rid of one more. Hello? Come on. There we go. L, delete. And that now, okay, is so now we're going to click accept, apply, and then we're going to go back to our object select mode, because we were in the select faces mode there, and we're going to just spin around here. And that, let's see if this lines up now. Yeah, see how that lines right up? We got it. We are jamming. Yeah, so, and our Infinity Cove has geometry in it. It has a good amount of geometry. So if we want to kind of, I don't know if this is good enough for footprints, but it is good enough to add a little bit of curvature, okay? And it's good enough, okay, because I have already experimented with this, see, I know the future. I know what's going to happen when we bring this into Daz, okay? Because I do try to do these things ahead of time, so you don't have to sit and watch me really kind of struggle to do these things, because I can get flustered and teed off, okay, with the world. And so I find that if I, spend 3 hours working on this before I come here, so yeah, I must be tired if I worked on this 3 hours earlier today just to learn how to do this. And now here I am doing the actual tutorial. But that's what it's all about. It's about enjoying this work. It's about loving what you do in your life, and that's what it's about. Okay, so now I'm doing something weird. I'm making little lines and not sure exactly why. Oh, because obviously I've picked this ring thing. Edit. I don't know what I did. I don't think I did anything in particular to it. Okay, but what we're going to do, yeah, please select this instead of that. Okay. Now we're going to, I think, okay, we have the sphere selected. So what we're going to do is we're going to export this as an OBJ to my desktop. And we're going to call this Spherical in, we're going to call it 2 because I think I did already make one today, and I don't want to, just remember it's 2, okay? And now stuff's going to pop up, and when you do this, it's going to say something like flip textures and X, Y, and Z and the scale factor, and it's going to want you to export UVs. We don't need UVs because we're going to put our own on. Maybe we'll leave them on, okay? And then it's so big, just you don't need unit of the file, no idea what that is, and whether if we need to, and there's a way to bring this back in, or I could, but in through the portal, but I'm just going to save it. This is the easiest way in my head to do this, is just save it on the desktop as an OBJ. So we're going to save that. And then we're going to go back to Daz. And we're going to delete this sphere. And we're going to go open, import. And go to this, Spherical Infinity Cove 2. And what do? I have no idea. So just click accept. And there we go. We have now an Infinity Cove in here. Is it upside down? Is it backwards? It's very large, which is kind of what we need, but it's not sitting on the ground. And so let's zoom out a little bit and see what's what. This is extremely, not extreme. I've seen bigger. Like so big that this was a tiny little speck. So it's not that bad. So we go to our parameters, and let's just scale it down to some kind of reasonable size, like maybe the size of this. And let's move it down, translate translate down, okay, to the plane, okay. There we go, there we go, there we go. And, this one came out a little better than the last one, I think, because there's a little more height to it. I think the last one I made, I was about halfway. This one has a little more height to it. Maybe it didn't come out better, but as you can see, this is exactly what we wanted. Okay, we're going to rotate this a little bit like that. And then we're going to translate it. Okay, we're going to rotate it like this. And we're going to translate it X. And we're going to bring it back a little bit. Z, 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 Z. Like that. You've got even, no, it didn't add more vertices. No, it does not do that, okay? So, like if I scale it down, you'll see the vertices just get closer, okay? It doesn't add more geometry. Like I said, Daz, there is no way to add vertices to anything in Daz Studio, okay? There's no like vertex maker. That's okay, friend. Okay, now it's okay. That's what we're all doing is learning. There's no way to add vertices. You can add like these skin vertices, and that's through sub D, but that does not actually add vertices to the geometry. Okay? Now, when you export things out of Daz, sometimes some of those export options say something about like, about like not add vertices, but like normalize the vertices or reorder them. I don't know the terminology they use, but when you export it out, but you're exporting it out of Daz, okay? So what the whole idea is to really not add anything, any kind of geometry to this, okay? Now this is a sphere, and was once a sphere, and so it's going to have some odd parameters to it, okay? That say a plane wouldn't have, because this is what would be called closed geometry, where a plane is open geometry. It's not a closed system. And now this sphere is no longer closed anymore, but it still thinks it's a sphere. It still thinks it's closed geometry. And how do you change that? I mean, maybe it doesn't now that we have actually exported it as a, but just be aware that it's a little bit confused. It's a little confused right now as to what it actually is. Okay, I can't seem to think what I'm doing here. Okay, front. Okay, so Y translate. So what we need to do now is we need to put some kind of, now the best thing that we could do right now is put, okay, I think we're in geometry editor. Okay, now we're out of, that's why this was missing. Okay, now we're actually in we were in geometry editor. Now I kind of wish this was flatter, so it's your infinity Cove. It's you who decides what you want to do with this, okay? How you want to make this. Okay, so what we have to do is put some kind of Uber, we have to put like an Iray base on this, or we have to put some kind of PBR base on this. And so now what we'll start with an Iray base. Okay, and so we're going to go to surfaces, select the spherical infinity Cove, go here to all files, and wait until it populates. Then we're going to go default, shaders, and type in just Uber, so I can have a few to choose from. Let's try this one, and this should give it an Uber base. Let's go to Iray, and there it is. We have an Uber base on this. Isn't that pretty? So now what we can do is put on we can put on an HDRI on this now, one that's spherical, okay? And So we go to Surfaces, Editor, Base, Browse, and here we are. Now when you look at these, okay, see this one kind of looks a little bit spherical. The way the ground is kind of like, it looks like some of these don't look so spherical, like this one doesn't, this one doesn't. Some of them are just flat pictures. You have different kinds of so I'm going to tell you that a majority of your HDRIs are not going to look right in a sphere like this. They look okay in in Daz's HDRI because it only kind of becomes a sphere way, way, way up at the tippy top. It kind of like cuts over real quick. But most of the, what you see in Daz is this really stretched out picture that along the horizon that looks straight. So let's just try this one here. Let's put this in here and see what happens. It's going to take a moment. And what's wrong? The first thing that I see that's wrong here is we have shine on the sky. The sky's not shiny, okay? So we have to take and go here and turn shine off by just making that black. Okay, now the shine is, now that right there isn't shine, that's the actual sun. Okay, so now what we can do is, as you can see, this kind of worked. All right, and what we are going to do is now try to just rotate this, and so that would be, how would we offset it? Horizontally, horizontal offset. And as you can see, this is just like rotating the sky around. And one thing, because the reason why I say this is not the same as a plane is because every time I've used a plane to do this, every time I've used a plane to put this stuff on here, it goes on the outside as well, but it doesn't matter. Now when we zoom in like this, here it is. We have this really very high quality. Now let's take this and let's put this same HDRI on our environment. So we go to parameters, change the map, and we'll change it to this, turn it on. Okay, and we're going to get to see the difference. Okay, it just darkened the world a little bit. But let's now just hide this infinity cove and see the HDRI. Where is it? Oh, draw a dome, turn it on. Now, as you can see, this is all kind of washed out. It's nice, but it's what we're seeing, that if I were to render a scene here in this, like put an environment in here and render it really large, and we were to like render it at say 10,000 pixels or something, 10K, this sky would be all pixelated. It would be completely. So how do we get around that? Well, we with this. And so what we do is we take this scene and, well, let's just now use our environment resolution. Let's rotate the dome until that sun is pointing into our infinity cove and lighting it beautifully. That's a little bit of lighting it, and that's... See, now you see this little edge here. That is why I said you're probably not going to want the edge there, okay? Because it's now look at now what we can do is take the environment map and just bring it down to maybe 1. We don't need to light it that bright. But now what we have here is a much more detailed scene. Now let's bring a character in here, default. And yes, I know it'll be very, very cold when you're naked. Here we go. Let's go here to products, default, figures, people, male. And let's see what we have here to bring in here. This is a guy I've never brought him into. This is Noah with the squished nose. I don't know why they squished his nose. Probably the first thing I've got to do is help him breathe. Yeah, it's like, didn't they notice that nose was like completely like flattened out? So, but I bought him because I got him for like $1, $2. So I didn't check the Daz store today. I haven't checked it, which is like never happens. Okay, so what are we gonna? Where is Noah? He's gonna come in frigid and cold. We got to put some clothes on him. So we just brought a bunch of detail into this scene, and Noah is tiny. So yes, we can even bring this world, we can scale this world down a little bit. Let's put some clothes on Noah. Since he's far away, we might as well use this advantage to keep the YouTube community clean. I mean, you know, wholesome. That's what it's about. It's about making it a safe place for everybody to, for the community. Yeah. You know, romance, that's one thing. Nudity, that's going a little too far. And how about if we give him some of this Viking attire, so he looks like, okay, why do I have CV stuff in here? Oh, okay. This CV stuff is supposed to be gone. Oh, I think it's the hair stuff that I got rid of. Oh, I don't know why all this CV stuff is back. Maybe. All right, so let's go to, I guess the CV stuff will work. I just find that AutoFit works so much better. The worst thing I did was convert all my clothes with the clothing converter. All right, so I think it's the hair. Yeah, it's the hair that I got rid of. Okay, so the clothes are still here. They're at least they're not as bad as the hair was just completely useless. And none of the converted hair worked. None. So all right, where was that? See, what I have to do is like I find something that I like and then I have to search for it again just so I can use it without the CV stuff. Let's go to Viking. All right, where's it? Oh, there it is. Viking Raider. Okay, so let's just load. Let's load what we need. Okay, we need the pants. So we'll put the pants on him. Unsupported. This is Genesis 8 male. Accept. Pants. Okay. Because I just didn't want any kind of hat or something, and I don't think he does actually have a hat. Okay, so we'll go with the boots. Genesis 8. And I mean, the reason why, okay, I'm doing this way, okay, is because the, yes, they're all converted and everything, but they just didn't convert very well. And the auto fit seems to do, I think, I don't know, I think it's kind of a toss up between